The story begins with an unexpected twist that sets the tone for everything that follows. The powerful and polished CEO, known throughout the corporate world for his perfectionism and unapproachable demeanor, shocks his entire circle when he announces that he will be bringing his children's nanny as his date to the company's annual gala. This event isn't just any party, it's the most anticipated evening of the year, attended by board members, business tycoons, investors, and celebrities. The gala is a place where image means everything, where every guest is expected to exude prestige and sophistication. So when the news spreads that the CEO's companion for the evening is not a model, an heiress, or a fellow executive, but rather a nanny, the whispers begin long before the night arrives. The nanny, a humble and kind-hearted woman in her late 20s, has worked for the CEO's family for several years. She's adored by the children, respected by the household staff, and quietly admired by the CEO himself for her sincerity, intelligence, and dedication. Yet, she has always remained in the background, invisible to the high society that orbits around her employer. Her world revolves around bedtime stories, scraped knees, and school lunches, far removed from the glittering world of corporate galas and champagne toasts. So when the CEO personally asks her to accompany him to the gala, she is stunned. At first, she hesitates, thinking it must be a misunderstanding or some kind of formality. But he insists. He tells her he wants someone genuine by his side, someone who reminds him of what truly matters amid all the pretentiousness of his world. Though nervous, she accepts, not realizing that this single decision will change her life forever. As the news spreads through the company, reactions are mixed. Some employees are amused, others judgmental, and many are outright scandalized. The CEO's closest advisors try to persuade him to reconsider, warning that such a choice could tarnish his reputation or become the subject of gossip columns. But the CEO stands firm, unbothered by the opinions of others. For him, the invitation isn't about appearances, it's a quiet rebellion against superficiality. It's also an unspoken gesture of gratitude and respect toward the woman who helped hold his family together during his darkest times. By inviting her to the gala, he unknowingly sets the stage for a night that will challenge prejudices, redefine perceptions, and expose the heart beneath the title, Millionaire CEO. The night of the company gala finally arrives, an evening shimmering with luxury, power, and anticipation. Guests in designer gowns and tailored tuxedos glide through the grand ballroom, where crystal chandeliers cast a golden glow on the marble floors. Conversations hum with business talk, champagne glasses clink, and everyone waits to see the man of the hour, the CEO, make his grand entrance. But when he finally arrives, all eyes turn not to him, but to the woman standing beside him. It's the nanny, but she's completely unrecognizable. Gone is the simple woman in casual clothes who used to chase after the children in the garden or read bedtime stories in the quiet corners of the mansion. Tonight, she steps into the room radiating grace and quiet confidence. Dressed in an elegant gown that flatters her perfectly, her hair styled beautifully, and a hint of natural makeup highlighting her gentle features, she looks like she's walked straight out of a fairy tale. Her transformation is not just physical, it's emotional. She carries herself with poise, her eyes shining with both nervousness and quiet strength. The moment they enter, the room falls into a hush. Conversations pause. Heads turn. Some guests stare in disbelief, others in envy, and a few in outright judgment. The whispers begin almost immediately. Is that the nanny? What is she doing here? She actually looks stunning. The women glance at her with a mix of curiosity and competitiveness, while some men can't hide their admiration. Despite the piercing gazes and murmurs around her, the nanny remains composed. She doesn't try to impress anyone, she simply stands tall, offering polite smiles and showing impeccable manners. The CEO, standing proudly beside her, notices how naturally she handles herself, not pretending to belong, but belonging through her authenticity. Throughout the evening, her genuine warmth begins to win people over. She speaks kindly to the servers, compliments the event organizers, and listens intently when spoken to, a refreshing contrast to the arrogance that often fills such gatherings. Slowly, the initial shock fades, replaced by admiration and curiosity about the woman who dared to walk into a world that wasn't hers, yet carried herself as if she'd been meant to be there all along. Her transformation is more than just outward beauty, it symbolizes her inner strength and self-worth finally being seen. That night, she doesn't just surprise the guests, she redefines what true elegance means: confidence, humility, and authenticity shining brighter than any diamond in the room. As the evening unfolds, the grandeur of the gala intensifies, laughter fills the air, music flows softly from the live orchestra, and the dance floor gleams under the crystal lights. Yet, beneath the elegant surface, whispers continue to swirl like an undercurrent of hidden judgment. Many of the guests, accustomed to rubbing shoulders with CEOs, investors, and socialites, can't resist gossiping about the unexpected presence of the nanny at such a high-profile event. At first, the comments are subtle, curious glances, faintly raised eyebrows, and hushed murmurs exchanged behind glittering glasses of champagne. But as the night goes on, the tone sharpens. Some women, cloaked in designer gowns and jewels, gather in small groups, smirking as they whisper catty remarks about her background and appearance. "I heard she's just the help," one scoffs quietly. "Imagine being desperate enough to bring your nanny to a gala," another replies with a mocking laugh. Across the room, a few men, emboldened by arrogance and alcohol, make snide jokes among themselves. One executive even leans toward a colleague and says in a low, condescending voice, maybe he brought her as part of his charity work. They laugh, not realizing that their cruel words are being overheard by others, including the very woman they're mocking. The nanny, though maintaining her composure, feels the sting of their judgment. She's painfully aware of the stares and the whispers, but she refuses to let them see her discomfort. She reminds herself why she came, not to impress anyone, but because the CEO trusted her enough to bring her into his world. So, she holds her head high, offering polite smiles even to those who speak ill of her. The CEO, however, isn't oblivious. He notices the side glances, the snickers, and the false smiles. It angers him, not only because of the disrespect shown to his guest but because it exposes the shallow values of the very people who pride themselves on sophistication. Yet, he remains silent for the moment, waiting to see how she will handle herself, and she doesn't disappoint. When approached by a particularly snide executive's wife who sneers, "It must be quite a change for you, dear, being around real elegance," the nanny simply smiles and replies softly, "True elegance comes from kindness, not the price of your dress." Her calm yet powerful response spreads quickly through the crowd. The room grows quiet for a moment, and even the CEO feels a surge of admiration. In that instant, the tone of the whispers shifts, from ridicule to reluctant respect, as everyone begins to realize that this nanny possesses a grace that no amount of money can buy. As the evening progresses, the tension beneath the polished glamour of the gala finally reaches its peak. The nanny, though calm and composed, continues to endure the weight of judgmental stares and whispered gossip. Many of the guests, unable to understand why a man of such power and prestige would bring someone of humble background, treat her presence as a scandal rather than a statement. Yet, the CEO remains at her side, quietly observing how she carries herself, with dignity, humility, and unshakable grace. It isn't long before the simmering disdain among a few guests spills over into open disrespect. During dinner, a senior executive, known for his arrogance and pride in his social status, makes a thoughtless remark that cuts through the air like glass. With a condescending smile, he raises his glass and says loudly enough for nearby tables to hear, "It's inspiring, really, how our CEO supports those less fortunate. Not everyone would bring the help to such an exclusive event." His words are meant as a joke, but the cruel laughter that follows exposes the ugliness behind it. For a moment, silence falls. The CEO's jaw tightens, and several guests exchange uneasy glances. The nanny's heart pounds, but instead of retreating or pretending not to hear, she takes a deep breath and turns toward the man with quiet confidence. Her voice is calm, steady, and filled with sincerity as she replies, "You're mistaken, sir. I wasn't brought here out of pity. I was invited out of respect, something your words seem to lack tonight. The table falls silent. The color drains from the executive's face, and even those who had been snickering look down at their plates in embarrassment. The nanny continues, her voice unwavering but gentle, I believe true success isn't measured by wealth or titles, but by how we treat those around us. We all have value, whether we sit at the head of the table or serve the meal. Her words cut through the noise of the gala with striking clarity. Around the room, people begin to murmur, not with ridicule this time, but with admiration. The orchestra's soft music resonates, but the atmosphere has changed completely. In that single, brave moment, the nanny transforms from an outsider into the moral center of the evening. Her courage not only humbles those who mocked her but also exposes the hollowness behind their so-called sophistication. And as the CEO looks at her, his eyes reflect something more than respect, they hold pride, gratitude, and the deep realization that her strength is worth more than all the wealth in the room. The pivotal moment of the gala arrives after the nanny's courageous words have silenced the room. The whispers and judgmental stares that once filled the air are replaced by an almost reverent hush. Guests begin to realize that this woman, who had been underestimated from the moment she arrived, embodies a rare kind of elegance and integrity, qualities that money cannot buy. Amid this transformed atmosphere, all eyes naturally turn to the CEO, awaiting his reaction. The CEO rises from his seat, his presence commanding attention without any need for ostentation. For a moment, he surveys the crowd, the executives, the socialites, and the business magnates, all of whom had questioned his decision to bring the nanny. Then, his gaze lands on her, and a small, genuine smile crosses his face. He begins to speak, his voice calm yet filled with authority, making sure everyone in the room hears every word. He starts by praising her character, not her appearance, not the way she handled herself at the gala, but the essence of who she is. Tonight, he says, we have witnessed something extraordinary. Not because of glamour, but because of integrity, courage, and heart. The woman beside me has done more for my family than anyone else. She has shown loyalty when it mattered most, wisdom when guidance was needed, and kindness when it was least expected. The CEO pauses, letting the words sink in, and then continues, in a world obsessed with status, appearances, and wealth, it is easy to forget what truly matters. True worth isn't measured by the clothes we wear, the titles we hold, or the size of our bank accounts. True worth is measured by character, by the way we lift others up, and by the courage to stand for what is right, even when it's uncomfortable. His words resonate through the room, silencing any lingering doubt and changing the perspective of everyone present. The CEO's declaration is more than a defense of the nanny, it's a powerful lesson on respect, equality, and the value of human dignity. Finally, he turns to her directly, his eyes reflecting deep gratitude. I brought her here not to impress anyone, but because I wanted the people who truly matter, the ones with integrity and heart, to be celebrated. Tonight, she has reminded us all what it means to be truly remarkable. The room erupts into applause, but unlike the polite claps of the elite, this applause is heartfelt, genuine, and filled with admiration. The nanny, once underestimated and mocked, now stands as the moral and emotional center of the evening. The CEO's recognition not only elevates her in the eyes of the room but also reinforces the lesson that true power lies not in wealth or influence, but in respect, kindness, and unwavering character. Her courage, paired with the CEO's acknowledgement, turns the gala into a moment that none of the attendees will ever forget, a night where humility and integrity outshone even the brightest chandeliers.